Hello, hello, hello everyone. So I wanted to go through the storytelling actions with you and just explain a little bit about them and what you get in the collection. So we're going to start at the beginning. So these are the first glance. This is a first glance section. So just things you would notice at first glance. So we've got bright and seen. So click on that. So if you wanted a really airy image, or your image is underexposed, then that's great. We've got dark and seen, does the same thing but makes it darker. Brighten subjects, so let me just turn that off and I'll come to brighten subjects. So you've got a little instruction with every action. Oh, let me just turn my caps off so I can see how big the brush is. There we go. So if your brush is ever like this and across and you're not sure why, it's probably because your caps are on. So I'm just literally going to spotlight that there, and I'll bring a little bit onto her feet, on her. So that's the brighten subject action. So you can just brighten your subject or anything else that you need to brighten. You can just mask that on. If you go over your subject bit, you can just switch back to your black brush and bring it off around her. So turn that off and on. So that's brighten subject. Then we've got lift harsh shadows. So if you've got any really harsh shadows, so for instance, her hair is getting a little bit dark here, so you can mask that on. You can drop the opacity down. So if I just mask that off quickly, I'll switch to 40% and you can build that up. So you can mask that anywhere. If you use a lower percent opacity brush, you can really build it to how you would like. So I'm going to turn that off because, in fact, I'll turn it down a little bit. There we go. So then we have young soft skin. So if I click that, I'm going to mask it on at 100% opacity. And we've got beautiful soft skin for a young person. So that is going a little bit brighter because it's pulling from this area here. So all I'm going to do is select my black brush at 40% and just mask some off. It's easy peasy. So I'm just going to show you the storytelling skin. So I'm going to use this completely unedited image of my grandparents to show you the storytelling skin. So obviously this is for older skin to bring out those lines, and every line tells a story. So I'm going to click OK and go to my white brush. And I'm going to stay at 40% opacity, and I'm just going to mask on where I want to emphasize those lines. So we'll do the hair a little bit. So you can build it up wherever you want to if you use a lower opacity. And the hands are really important too. Okay, so if I switch that off and on, you can see the difference. So it really brings out those lines. So let's switch back over here. And we've got mask on, rich and dreamy. So if I switch to around 60% opacity, and I'll just mask that on, and I'll turn it off and on, so you can see it just gives that really dreamy, rich feel, nice and soft. Then we have textured clothing and details. So for example, if I mask that on Bella, let's turn that opacity down actually, let's turn it to 30%. So if I bring that there and turn that off and on, you can see it's really emphasizing that texture. If I turn that off and on now, so look at the bear, we're just really bringing that detail out, so all that focus is going there. If I switch to this image, And I'm going to click the action again. I'm going to mask it on her clothes so you can see we're really bringing out the texture in the clothing. Okay, so let's now go to the next one. And we've got reduce reds. Pretty straightforward. It reduces reds. So she's got a bit of a red hand there. We'll just mask that on. I'll turn it off and on so you can see. So reduce reds is pretty straightforward. Now we've got tell the story. So these are adjustments. I won't really call them overlays because they're a bit more in detail than overlays, but they're adjustments that will change the tone and the feel of the image. Before I do that, I just really need to fix that stray hair because it's driving me mad. So, whoops. Wrong. What's going on here? Oh, that's why I'm pressing 3 instead of E. There we go. So I'm going to use my spot healing tool and I'm just getting rid of that 2 stray hairs that are sticking out of my head that were driving me potty. There's one there as well, actually. Okay, that's better. I'm just going to turn that off and on so you can see why they were getting on my nerves. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning and we'll go through these. These are really going to help with the storytelling of the image. So the one that you choose will help tell the story that you want to tell. So we've got magical memories. So that's really nice and warm. I absolutely love this one. I'm going to turn that off and on. And it's perfect for this image. Quite a few of them that work nice on this image actually. Then we've got little moments. So that's really soft and dreamy. And don't forget you can change your opacities and you can mask off anywhere you wanted. If you was to mask off, I'd always suggest bringing your opacity down on your brush. So we've got precious times. So that's really warm. So I would probably bring this down a little bit depending on the image, but I really like it there. I love that one. And then we've got the little sentiments. So this is more of a rich feel. I have an image of my little ones jumping on the bed and this one would be so perfect for that. But you can tell it really starts bringing your storytelling together with these actions. So we've got soft daydreams. So again, this is a really soft one, but really nice and warm. Love that one. And then we've got memory making. So this is really nice and rich, beautiful. We've got some beautiful textures that go with this one, gorgeous as well. You can lower the opacity, you can bring it up. Lots of dodge and burn with this would look absolutely beautiful. So you can really play around with it and put that wherever you want to. So let's turn that off. And then we have old times. So I'm going to turn that off and on. And again, play around with the opacity. So let's turn magical memories on. And then I'm going to come to details. So you've got reduce harsh light. So if you've got any harsh light, you can just play that and just mask on. I don't want to get rid of that harsh light, however, because I love a harsh window light on these kind of images. Then we've got center vignette. So if I click that, it will darken around the edge and it will leave the brightness in the middle. So you can switch to your black brush and mask off wherever you want to bring some of that light back. So I'll turn that off and on. Then we have, so you can tell there that is really bringing your focus right here. So we'll turn that off and on. So that's really bringing your focus to your storytelling. Then we've got soft center spotlight. So I'm going to click that on and that will bring up the light in the center. And the others are to the left or to the right. So if your subject was here or here, you would pick left or right. So that's basically the same thing on the other sides. Then we have the haze. So storytelling haze. This is to really bring the focus on to your image to remove any distractions. So you can see this here. It's not quite straight, it's quite distracting. So let's go to, let's go medium haze left. So we've got white, medium and dark. So we've got medium haze left if I click that. And then we come over here and click on the layer mask and you can mask off where you need to. The good thing is you can switch to your white brush and mask on, but I would suggest dropping your opacity and bringing that in. I'll turn that off and on. Okay, so you can play a couple on top of each other. So I'm going to go dark haze left, and then we can turn down the opacity, switch to my black brush, and we'll just bring that off there. So if I group those together, you can see the difference. Then we have, let's see, so for each one we'll start up here. We've got white haze left, so you can bring the white haze. Make sure you click on your layer mask and mask off your subject. I'll turn that off. And we've got white haze right. So same thing, make sure you click on the layer mask, mask off your subject, and you can play around with the opacity. So that will bring all the focus into the centre. And then we have bottom haze. So you've got all of these left, right, bottom, top, and around the image for every colour. So we'll just go over the white, and you know that you've got those for every colour. So you can turn the opacity down and mask on. So you can see this is really bringing the image together. It might not be necessarily the colour that I'd use, but it is really bringing the image together. If you wanted to change this colour, if you didn't want any of the colours that I've given you, you can double click here, click here, go to the colour on the left or the right, depending on which one you're using. It should be on the left, and then double click the colour here, and you can play around and choose any colour you want. So if you want to change the colour, you can do. So then I'm just going to turn these off so I can show you the other ones. So we've got top haze. So if anything was distracting at the top, you can easily remove that. And I'm going to switch to 50% and mask them off here. And then we're just bringing it in where that light is coming from the window there. If I turn that off and on. Okay, and then we have hazy vignette. So that's going all around the image. So again, if I click on the layer mask and then just mask around here, and if you wanted to, you can click your white brush and bring some back. Okie doke. So I'm going to turn those off and we'll come down. Let's do bottom haze. And I'm going to switch to my black brush and take it off here. And then I'm going to go to dark bottom haze. And I'm going to turn the opacity down. And I'm going to mask it off. There. Turn the opacity down a little bit more. And on that one too. That's better. Okay. So now I'm going to come back to my actions. And now we've got the finishing touches. So we've got HD storytelling. So I'm going to click that. And for this image, I wouldn't use it necessarily, but I'm going to show it you anyway. So you can just mask this on and it will bring lots of clarity and richness to the image, if I click over here and use it on this one, make my brush bigger, and so that's at 100%. If I switch to 40%, we can bring it in. Don't forget, I haven't done anything like brighten their faces or anything like that. In fact, let's just do that. Let's just do that. So we've got brighten subjects. That's better. And then we'll come to HD storytelling. And you can play all of these actions on top of each other. You don't have to flatten anything. So that's better. So you bring in that on your subjects. It doesn't necessarily have to be for your subjects. It can be for the background too. So if I click on, let's turn that on, and I click on the background, you can bring that into the background if you wanted that really rich HDR look. It would work better for other images, but I just wanted to show you that so you knew what it was about. And then we have soft and dreamy. So if I click that, it's like a really soft and dreamy overlay. Works really lovely on this image. I would turn the opacity down a little bit. You can even invert it and mask it on certain areas. So you can just bring it into one area or all over your subject, or you can just leave it all over the full image. Then I'm going to show you the creamy matte overlay. I'm sorry if you can hear little noises in the background. It is my little boy sat right next to me. He's being a little monkey. So if I turn that off and on, that's a really creamy matte look. And then we've got darker feels, which will just bring a whole darker feel to your image. Now you can just play with the opacity. You can switch to your black brush and mask off in certain places. So again, you're just bringing the light back to her. This isn't necessarily how I'd edit the image. It's just, I'm just showing you the actions. So let's turn that off. And then we've got warm, cozy days. So again, you can mask off any way you want to. Let's bring some of that light back in. You can play with the opacity slider. I used this warm cozy days on an image of my little boy in the sink, and that looked really, really nice. It was beautiful on that image. So each look will look different on different images. So you don't use them all on every image. Each action will give a different feel and help you tell your story in a different way. So each image will require different actions. So after that, we've got matte. So it just gives a matte all over your image, and then you can mask off and bring back the details. You can again use the opacity slider. Then we have your dodge and burn. So dodge tool, which is here, and the burn is the burn tool, which is there. So that is how you use your actions and what they do. I'll just take a snapshot, and I'll show you before and after. So that's really quick adjustments. Not really focusing much on the editing, more on the actions and what they do. Apologise for all the little noises. That's my little boy. He's telling me to be quiet and just making silly noises in the background, so apologies for that. So I want to show you now what else you get with the storytelling collection. So you do get all of these actions, and there's over 40 of them, and then you also get some brand new storytelling light rays, which I absolutely love. I'm obsessed with them. So go to File and Place Embedded, and then we're going to choose an light ray. So you get a warm version and a light version of all of the light rays. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to place it here. I'm holding Control or Command, depending whether you're Mac or Windows, and you can manipulate your light ray this way. So you can suit it to any of your images. You can see it's going right through the window there. So click OK. And then I'm going to turn the blending mode to screen, and I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit. Then I'm going to go back to File and Place Embedded, And I'm going to choose another one. But before I do, I just want to show you the light rays that you get. So you get this one, so you get a side, and you get a white and a warm version. Then I love this one. So you get all of these nice sunbursts. I might use that sunburst actually on this. So you get some really great light rays there that are really going to help tell your story. So I'm going to choose this one, I think. We might switch it. I'm going to place it here, and before I size it or anything, I'm going to turn the blending mode to screen. Let's go on the move tool, and I might actually switch this. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. So I'm going to go to File and Place Embedded again, and I'm just going to choose this one. Just a simple circle. I'm going to turn the size down. I'm just going to place it there, and then turn the blending mode to screen. Make it a little bit bigger, and it just brings that light, and then the light rays are coming off it. So if I turn that off and on, you can see the difference. And then you can add a layer mask and mask off around. So I'm going to group those together and add a layer mask. You can do it individually if you want, and then you can just feather those lines in. Lovely. Okay, so now we've looked at the light rays. Something that really makes those light rays magic is the dust in the light. So I've created some beautiful dust to go with your light rays. So go to File and Place Embedded and select your folder for dust, and I'll just go through them. So you've got this nice subtle one, and again you've got a warm and white version of both. So we've got all of these. So depending on your image. So let's go with this one. Right, so I'm going to hit place. I'll try this one. I'm going to place it and then turn the blending mode to screen. I'm going to use my move tool to change the size of it. Let's try a different one, although I do really love that one. And we'll go to File and Place Embedded again. So you can use a really simple one, or you can use, let's go for this one. So screen, I love this one. So what I like to do with my dust, make sure it's getting in all of that light. Okay, what I like to do with my dust is rather than mask it off, I'll mask it on. So I'll add a layer mask and invert, switch to my white brush, and then using a smaller brush, I'll mask it into the light. So making sure that it's going in those light rays. Then I'll take a bigger brush and switch to around 60%, and I'll just start masking in the gaps. So then you can even, let's just switch back to my black brush and just take a little bit of that away. So we're just feathering that in. So then you can even add some more. So if I go to File and Place Embedded, I'll just choose this one because it was up. And rather than make it bigger and make that dust huge, I'm going to place a couple. So I'm going to place one there. Let's do it half and half. So place one there, and then Command or Control J to copy that layer. And I'm going to place one here. And then I'm going to turn the blending mode to screen and screen for this one. And you can actually change blending mode to light as well if you wanted less. So I'll actually do that. Let's go for lighten. No, I won't. I'll go for screen. So I'll go for screen on this one, maybe lighten on this one. Then I'm going to hold Command or Control and select both of those layers together and group them. Add a layer mask and invert, switch to my white brush, and you can mask them in. So you can use a lower opacity brush, use a smaller brush, and you can just start masking some dust in wherever you wanted. So you can actually have little bits of dust all over the image if you wanted. So that is something else that you get with the storytelling collection. And then we've got some storytelling textures. So open your textures up, file, place, embedded, just as we did before, and you've got all of these textures that are designed to give the image a really beautiful texture. I'm sorry if you can hear my little one in the background. So I'm going to flick through and choose one of these. Let's go with this one. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and Rotate Clockwise, and place that over the image. Now you've got a few different things you can do here. So you can play around with the blending modes. So going through them all and just having a play around. Soft light and overlay are usually my favourite. And then you can turn down the opacity, add a layer mask, and mask off around. Let's switch that opacity up a little bit. Mask off around where you want the focus to come. So you just give that image just that little bit of texture that really helps with the kind of story that you're trying to portray. So you've got all those different ones that you can go off. You can even use a normal blending mode and take just a really low opacity brush and mask around. Really depends on the image that you are creating. So you get all of that in this one collection, and that is exactly what you get. I've gone through everything for you. I just really wanted you to get a really good feel of the full collection. I absolutely love it. I'll once again show you before and after. So before and after, and that's just really quickly showing you and going through everything and not really pay much attention to the edit, to be honest. There's much more I could have done. I could have added lots of dodge and burn and some other adjustments to really bring this together, but that is a really beautiful image just from those very few adjustments, and I can't wait to see what you create with them. I'm so excited to see all of your images and all of your storytelling images. Take care, everyone.